here in Austin, Texas. It's me, J.R. Hobbs, and for today, on my first ever live stream, we're going to be building up a brand new bike. So, just went to the mailroom, picked up the stuff. Let me just kind of pile it over here a little bit. So, how do I do this? Put that like that. All right, first up, let's start off with a small box. We got these are R25 forks. I've been running these R25s on this bike, recently switched to these. I never rode Odyssey forks before these. I was running some like snafu forks with a 28-degree offset. These are 25-degree offset, so a little bit steeper and going to be a bit better for front end action like nose manuals, which I want to learn, and any type of tech stuff. So R25 forks. Next, I already put them on my cranks, but we got the Alienation foothold pedals. Love these. Again, have them on this bike. I wanted to keep these bikes relatively the same. So we got some Alienation foothold pedals. They're sealed bearings, plastic bodies with metal pins, and they grip like no one else, so that's fantastic. So we got those, and then just got a snafu fat seat, just I don't know, it's just a pivotal seat, but looks good, and it goes with the colors. The bike's gonna be all black with white stickers and then rainbow tie spokes, so it'll just kind of be sleek and clean. Next up, we got these. These are the snafu Logan Martin bars in black with a 9.25 rise. Hey, guess what? Running the same bars on my other bike. Who would have thought? Again, I'm pretty particular with my bars, so just wanted to put on something that wasn't going to be too crazy different. So went with the same ones, and then finally, la piece de resistance. We got the frame. This is the first time I've ever ridden a hyper frame, so I'm pretty excited because they make some great stuff. Like, I've seen them in the wild, and I've ridden buddies that have hyper frames but never had my own. So to match the bars, we went with the gloss black Hyper Indie frame. This is Logan Martin's signature frame, which is pretty sick. And off the bat, again, this isn't sponsored by anyone. Time to Shine is the one who hooked me up with these parts. So just want to give off my first impressions of the frame specifically. Oh, there's all the bits and bobs. That's a pretty cool spot to hide everything. Won't be needing any of these brake mounts or anything because I'll be going brakeless. But first impressions, kind of surprised that there aren't integrated chain tensioners. I feel like that's pretty standard on a frame nowadays, and I didn't even think twice about checking that. So that definitely stands out. The frame bridge is pretty cool, a little hyper, and then this is kind of like a neat shape down here. The paint looks good, the welds look really good. This honestly kind of reminds me of the Failure Maniac frame, which I rode years ago. That was Harry Main's old signature frame. And the way this reminds me is like the top tube is pretty thin and little, but you got a fat bottom tube to add some strength, and overall it's pretty light. And I do want to say something actually, because I am noticing this. I've noticed this on a couple of Hyper's parts and snafus. They overpaint the shit out of things. Like, I'm looking down at the bottom, and typically you can clearly see on the bottom bracket like the model, the serial number, and the size of the frame, and that is just globbed over with paint, which is kind of crazy to me, like how much paint they use. Because I had some snafu Jackson bars a few years ago before the Noah bars came out, and the issue I had with those is they globbed so much paint on the knurlings on the bars that they ended up moving. I haven't had that issue with these bars, so hopefully I won't have an issue with these, but only time to tell. Other than that, those are the newest bike parts. The rest of the stuff I had just kind of like laying around, so this is a bit of a new bike, but then some old parts. So For the wheels, we have these are my backup wheels. These are Profile Elite Hub in black with tie driver, tie spokes, Odyssey 7KA rim, and a Maxxis grifter tire. And then for the front, we have the same thing, Profile Elite Hub in black, regular bolts, rainbow tie spokes with an Alienation Deviant rim, and then a Maxxis grifter tire. Both tires are in 2.1, which is typically what I ride. And then for my cranks, we have the Profile spline drive cranks in 165 with a titanium spindle, 28 tooth Profile spline drive sprocket with the Alienation foothold pedals. And then I think the honestly headset and bottom bracket are just like a zombie together from old headsets and bottom brackets I had laying around. But the blacks, the paint for the bars, forks, and frame look to match pretty well. The frame's a little bit glossier than the forks, same as the bars, but it should look pretty decent. Oh, we actually got some people in here. Dude, I can T-bog, shut up. That's okay. What's up, dude? Okay, to smoke joke, I will be putting pegs on periodically. I don't have any hub guards, but that shouldn't matter too much. So let's go ahead and put this bike together. Need to find all the parts. All right, here we go. So I've kind of prepped everything. I have the chain ready to go. I need to put in the bottom bracket. Honestly, the hardest part about putting together a bike if you don't have brakes is putting in the bottom bracket, because that's just a pain. So we're just going to give it a rip, and I'm going to show you guys how to properly smash in bottom bracket on a new frame. So let me get my things. Let me take this off too. So we're going to need some lube. Here we go. Got some lube. Nice. Yeah. There we go. Can I angle down? There we go. All right. So what we're going to do, boys, this takes some real skill, is going to lube up the inside of the frame, like so. Put a lot in there, especially for a new frame, and then we're going to take this little bottom bracket thing. And this is, when you're doing this, when you're putting a new bottom bracket into a new frame, it's all about finesse. Damn it, I broke it. Kinda, yeah, I kind of broke the bottom bracket. See, it's all about finesse at the end of the day. I'm going to put that back in here. She's in there. See? Finessed it. And then we're going to take the other bit, which is somewhere around here. There we go. I'm going to put it in this little spacer thing, drop it in, and then do the same thing on the other side. So let's just pull a random bottom bracket out. And then do the same thing, put a ton of grease into your bike. It gets messier, but grease is honestly such a lifesaver when it comes to just like keeping your bike in working order and keeping things from synced up. So if you don't have grease, get some grease. It's cheap. I've had this grease probably for 4 years, and I still have a lot of it. So with some finesse, and then you want to make sure the bottom bracket bearing is flush with the frame, which it is, because I'm so good at this. I wish I brought napkins, paper towels, or something. All right, so we got that, and because it's right-hand drive, let's go ahead. Actually, we're going to save the chain for a little bit later. Let's go ahead and slide in the crank arm assembly. I like to kind of put everything together into one unit and make it almost a 2-piece crank, even though these are 3-piece. So let's just go ahead and slide this Johnny right on in there. And check if it's good spacing. That looks good. And then on this side, can you guys see? Oh, there's some more comments. God damn it. There's that. And then for now, we're just going to kind of lightly line it up. Just get things going. Oh, wait a second. One of these bearings is not a 19 mil. Yep, that one's 22. Why do I have a 22 mil? Oh. Alright, make sure when you're putting in the bottom bracket that you're putting in the right size, because I just goofed up big time. Alright, let's take this. And again, it's all about finesse. So in case you missed how to put in your bottom bracket, I'm going to show you again. Where's another one? There it is. Put that in there. Honestly, pretty stoked on how easy the bottom bracket is going in, because usually it's a real pain. But let's just go for this again. So, round 2. There we go. Crank on. Now let's put everything else wherever it went. I lost all the parts. I lost everything, dude. Where did it all go? My workspace is not working for me right now. Oh, here it is. Got it. I'm gonna put that bit on. That bit. Is there another one? No. Yep, we need another spacer. Where'd that other spacer go? Let's check these comments real quick. Hey, Time to Shine's in here. Hey, huge shout out to Time to Shine for hooking it up with this bike. Oh, Adam Ortiz definitely will be putting front brakes on in the future-ish. Also, if you guys are watching, we're officially monetized and we now have memberships available on the channel. So if you guys want to join the channel, be part of the J Army, that'd be great. I love you so much. But if not, just enjoy the videos. But you do get like exclusive perks and content, which I'm going to be working on, exclusive live videos and stuff. So if that sounds interesting and you want to be more involved in the channel, feel free to join. I'd love you forever, and you also get shouted out in every video. With that being said, we want to quickly shout out our 3 members right now. Orlando Pressure Washing Pros, Violent Sun, and Kimberly Smith. You guys are the best, and you're the light of my world. So, let's just temporarily put this on, but kind of line it up. I think I might be the worst bike mechanic in BMX, but we're making it work. Ooh, it's starting to come together. I'm digging the black on black. That's pretty nifty if you ask me. So, can you even see what I'm doing? No, you can't. I'm so new to this stuff. Alright, there you go. Now we're gonna just tighten in these cranks. Yeah. Also, what I did on the sprocket side is I get a rubber washer from Home Depot and I put it in between the spacer and the bottom bracket. That way it kind of tightens up the crank, so when I do like tail whips and stuff, when I'm brakeless, the cranks don't spin, so it's easier to catch and kind of keep things under control. And it does prevent me from doing crank flips, but that's okay because I'm not a crank flip guy, but that's fine. All right. got that built up. See what I mean? Like they don't spin, and that feels nice to me. So let's do, for my next trick, we're going to put on the headset. Dude, this is so hard. I don't get how Brant Moore does all these lives all the time. This is so stressful. Okay, here we go. And headset. When you put it on your headset, what I like to do is I start off with the bottom one, and then I take my fork, slide it on up in there, and then from here I'm able to kind of like plop things down into place. I just feel like it kind of keeps things all together nicely, and you don't have things falling apart everywhere. So let's see, we've got a bunch of that's that shit. Then when you do your bearing in the top, you also want to make sure that you have this tiny little spacer that slides inside of that bearing. What that does is it just makes sure that the fork has a nicer, tighter fit within the steerer tube. So if you don't have it, your headset will be super loose. And if you don't notice it, over time it can actually ovalize your steerer tube and ruin the frame. So you want to make sure that you have that piece in there. And it's only for the for the top. It doesn't go into the bottom, so you don't have to worry about that. So let's put in. Let's see how many head spacers we need. Probably a couple, honestly. Yeah, I'm gonna need a few more. I do like my bars pretty tall. I just feel like it feels better for me. Oh, it's rolling away. Alright. That's fine. Okay, so then we got a couple more spacers. Let's stack them this way. Okay. And also for the stem, forgot to mention it, this is a profile push stem, top load stem. This is Mark Mulville's signature signature stem. Love this stem. Been riding it for ages. This is the 48 mil reach, so a little bit shorter. I like it a little bit shorter because it just makes the bike feel a little bit more controlled under me when I'm doing like tail ups and stuff. So that fits on nicely. And then when you're putting together the top section of your frame, like the stem and headset, what you want to do is you want to tighten the compression bolt first, which is this top bolt. Make sure everything's nice and set in. Give it a little spin just to make sure that it has, like it's not tight where it stops spinning, but it can spin a couple rotations, but you still don't feel like it's super loose. And then you tighten the bolts on each side. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Tighten this down. Like as soon as you start to feel tension, just give it like maybe like a half a turn after that. Otherwise it's going to be too tight, but that should be good. Once I put the bars on, I'll also go back and double check that it's has the right amount of tension. Oh, this bike is already looking so sick. I'm so excited. I'm really hoping it's going to be at that 20-pound mark. If we can get sub 20 pounds on this thing, I will be very stoked. I do want to note, compared to the other bike, the only things that are tie on this build are the spokes and the spindle. Everything else is whatever normally used. So no tie bolts. I got tie spokes and tie driver, but I don't have tie bolts on the hubs. So will it make a huge difference? Probably not. But is that cool? Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we're gonna put the seat, I'm gonna run the seat a little bit higher than normal, especially because I have this fat seat in. And then I need to find this little baggie, because this has the seat post bolt, clamp bolt. We have a couple more questions in here. Even worse on a chrome bike, what does that mean? What does that mean? Super noob. What do you mean even worse on a chrome bike? Also, AJB, this did not cost me a thing. The guys from Time to Shine are amazing human beings, and they hooked me up for this because they're my sponsor, and I love them. Let's see. If I can, my hands are so greasy I can't open this goddamn. Alright, I'm just gonna dump it out. Okay, I don't need that. I need this. And I need this. All this stuff can go away. Oh, dude, my fingers are so greasy I can't hold any of these tiny little bolts. And last one. And break them out. Okay, so let's put this into the frame and tighten it down. Come on. Wow. Watching me tighten a bolt and not be able to figure out how it works is so sick. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Now let's take off these bolts and put the bars on. How many people do we have in this freaking live? Let's see here. And then when you put the bars on, you always want to make sure they're facing out. Otherwise your bars will be on backwards. So, pro tip for you right there. And let's do that. And then also when you put your bars on, you can see the gnarlings where it's supposed to grip and bite. You want to make sure that that is evenly spaced between the in the stem. And then when you tighten, you kind of go diagonal down, over, up, and just go like this. You kind of make an X. That way you can make sure that the stem has even compression on all sides to avoid your bars slipping. Which bars typically do slip when you first put them on, just because it's the paint kind of wearing in to the spot. So I am expecting that, but yeah, I think these should hold pretty well. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna cut them yet. I'm gonna measure out my other bars. I'll probably do that off the live, just because that's time consuming and pretty boring. But if you guys want to see it, let me know. Drop a comment if you want to see how I cut my bars. But we're getting there. Also, putting on bars with a top load stem without brakes is so much easier, because typically there's like a brake cable that goes down here, which is super annoying and frustrating. But it's slowly going. Oh, they're starting to stand up. And then as far as kind of bars go, I'm going to put them a little bit forward to start off, because that's how I usually ride them, but not crazy forward. But that could change because this frame is smaller than I typically ride, which is going to be interesting. So we're just going to kind of experiment and see where we end up in that realm. So these are almost done. Oh, these are looking good, man. There we go. And then now we have all that together. I'm going to put it upside down, and we're going to put on the wheels. And that's when it really starts taking shape and looking good. So. Okay, we're good. We got a phone call, frickin' disrupting the build. that on. That looks good. Oh yeah, baby. Shovel's over here. We need some working space. Now let's put on the back wheel. Move this so you guys can see the process. Also, putting the, I've never put a bottom bracket in on a chrome bike. I've never even had a chrome bike actually, because in Florida with the salt air, like it would just rust. Like I had chrome bars at one point, but they rust so fast even when I kept the bike inside, so that was kind of a pain in the butt. But I can imagine with that. Also, this is the Hyper Indy frame. This is Logan Martin's signature frame in 20.5. The other bike, I have a Total Hangover H4 in 20.6. So it's only 0.1 inches smaller, but I think this geometry is going to be pretty nifty because I think it's a bit taller of a bike, which is nice. Because I do miss that. Like the Americano I had, Nick Bruce's old frame, that thing was nice because it was a little bit taller. I feel like the Killaby, even though, or not Killaby, the Hangover, which I'm used to now, it seems a little bit too low. Like double bars get pretty loose on that thing, so it's good, but it's not ideal. But I still love it. I still love that frame, and I don't think I'll ride a different frame with brakes anytime soon. So if I were to change one thing, I would just make the Hangover a little bit taller. So now, last bit that we need to do before grips and all that, which is boring, we're gonna put on this Shadow half link chain. What you wanna find when you're doing these half links is there's a pin, which I just found. It's bigger and thicker than all the other ones. This is the one that you're gonna use when using your chain breaker to put on the chain, and I'm really hoping that this chain is the right size because I hate messing around with like breaking and re-putting together chains. So let's just hope like right off the rip that the vibes are good and this chain works. So take that off. And then when you're putting on these chains, like I did the same thing. I used to have the links going this way when in reality they should be going the other way, going that way. So just to note when you're doing these shadow chains. And I should have broken the other way, but whatever. Let's see. Oh, she good. Actually, we're gonna take out a link. We're gonna do it, and I think it'll be nice and slammed, which will be fucking awesome. So let's take out this half link here, and then we'll put it back together, and it'll be nice. I think this might be the fastest I've ever put a bike together. I mean, obviously because the brakes take a lot more time. Like, if I end up liking riding brakeless, this might be the way we go from now on, because this is pretty chill to put together, not gonna lie. All right, there we go. That chain, that one is taken out. Come on, let go of me. Help me. Help me. Here we go. Also, if you do have a shadow chain, please, I was ignorant and used to get like a normal chain breaker. You definitely should get the shadow chain breaker just because it's beefier and it can handle, like my other chain breakers, they can break a shadow chain like a couple of times, but then soon after they bend all out of shape and it's just a pain in the butt. So spend the, like, I think they're not much more expensive than a normal chain breaker, like a good normal chain breaker. Spend the extra dough, get something that's gonna work, get the tool that's right for the job, and don't be an idiot about it. All right, there we go. This is the hardest part, putting it all back together. For me at least. Okay, there go. Which go back in. Yeah. Boom. Beauty. Alright, let's put this on. Oh, yeah. So then what we're gonna do, pull this thing back. Toss the shit. Anyone in the comments, whoever does a super chat or one of those things, I'll send you this bottom bracket bearing that doesn't fit. So whoever supers first, we'll get this in the mail. All right, let's go ahead and put the wheel together, and then we should have a pretty good preview of what the bike's gonna look like. Oh. So what I like to do is I kind of loosen both sides to like where they're just under finger tight. Like so. So what then I do is I pull back as hard as I can and then tighten down the drive side or the non-drive side. And then what I do is that I'll get up and then push on the non-drive side over towards the drive side and then crank it down. And what that'll do is it'll give it good chain tension. And then you go back to the non-drive side and lightly loosen it, lightly. And what that'll do is it'll straighten the wheel out and keep the chain pretty tight, like healthily tight. Oh yeah, that's nice right there. And the best part is I don't have to worry about brake pads. Damn, brakeless are sounding better and better. All right. Now let's take a gander. It is a 22 millimeter. I put it in thinking it was 19, but it ended up being 22. And I do not have 22 millimeter cranks. So let's get a good preview of the bike. Oh man. And here she is. Oh yeah. That is sick. It feels pretty light. I think I'm gonna cut the bars down. I'm gonna cut them down like 1/4 of an inch on each side. But before we do that, let me straighten out the bars because that is freaking me out. Whoa. This feels so crazy compared to the other bike. Nice and straight right there. I am stoked to have a brakeless bike. Like I had one that was kind of put together, but I needed to like take parts off my other bike to really make it work. But to have one that's like fully functional is very exciting. That I can just like decide to ride on a whim. So let's get the official weigh-in real quick, and then we're gonna end the live, and then I'm gonna do all the bar cutting stuff. Unless you guys want to see it. If you want to see it, there's 10 of you in here. If you guys want to see me cut the bars and possibly freak out, let me know. All right. Also, with this bike, how many pounds do you think this is? Well, yeah, super new. I'm going to put the grips and bar ends on in a minute, but we're going to get a weigh in real quick. Actually, no, you're right. Let's cut a 1/4 inch. Or you know what? I'm not going to run. I'm not going to take... I don't know if I need to cut them down. Let's weigh it, and then we're gonna decide whether we're gonna cut the bars down or not. All right, here we go. Okay, we got pounds. All right, we got Super Noob at 21. Anyone else have a guess before we do the official weigh-in? Speak now or forever hold your peace. we are at 20.6. Pretty good. Pretty good for the lack of tie. 23, 24, dudes. Got you all beat. That's at 21. Let's actually, or it's at 20.6. Let's weigh the other bike. And see how this one holds up. This is my daily. An inch off? Dude, that's pretty. I'm gonna measure out these bars and see where I have these at, and then decide. Okay. So this bike, this is my pipe. Dude, no way. They're exactly the same. This one's 20.6 as well. Okay, that's pretty wild. But I mean, that just shows you what some tie parts can do to a frame. It can really cut down on the weight. So, pretty wild. Fine. Let's put this back up and show you guys the final build. Let me clean it up a little bit. All right, we're done, kinda. Here she is. Hyper Indie with Odyssey profile and snafu parts. Looking pretty good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live video. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching me build this brand new bike. I think I'm gonna head to maybe be able to get a session out today at house and test this thing out. If not, it will be after Thanksgiving. I'm going back to Florida, leaving Texas for the first time since I've been here. And then I'll film a video then. But super stoked to get this build up. Again, huge thank you and shout out to timetoshinebmx.com. If you need any bike parts, go over there. Their catalog is massive. Their website's easy to navigate, and they're just great guys. So I hope you guys, wait, I'll give you 500. Yo, DM me on Instagram. We'll talk about it. Anyways, but thank you guys so much for sticking along and watching me stumble through a bike build video. Like I said, I'll be doing more lives in the future, including ones that will be exclusive for members. So if you want to join, we have 3 tiers. We have the Good Sirs, we have the Boys, and we also have For the Culture. They each have different perks and stuff like that, including like a members-only Discord and members-only videos, members-only live stuff, and they get their comments pinned at the top. So when I do like a calling the shots or whatever, they'll have their comments seen first, which is pretty sweet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you all. Take care of yourself. Be thankful, and Merry Thanksgiving.